everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your second The Crowded Room episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big brutal world that is right now. Here we are, episode 2, more than halfway through the original 3 that came out live when the show first premiered. And picking up where I last left off with the last review, considering the fact that I actually have to do more research. Now this is being labeled as just a miniseries. There may not be a season 2. That might be because of the negative reception to this show that they might not come back for more, but we never know. We never really know in the world of television. Hell, I'm happy that Superman Low is one of my favorite shows right now on the air. He's got renewed for another season, even though it got some restrictions on it. But you know what? You take the victories you can. You know, a win is a win. A win is a win. However, what wasn't a win fully was this episode. As the train continues, as I'm still not really being hooked in here. And I'm guessing by this point, they're just like, it's still setup fodder where we are just setting up the world and we're just like, you know, trying to get all the characters in place as we have a mini / kind of lengthy time jump into the period that Danny was describing in the last episode on how he first met Ariana and the landlord before the entire events of, you know, the where we are right now occurred. So now we're delving more and more closer to where we are in present day as we delve a little bit more into Danny's beginning his relationship with Ariana. And honestly, in terms of like, you know, bridging it, like so far, like, you know, they do implement using a time skip, because I was not going to be like sitting through like the just like, if every episode was just going to be, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be, but like, I'm not really a big fan of it. But if every episode was going to be Donnie just explaining Danny slowly but surely of how he got to the main events of the beginning of the show, I would be a little bit bored, and I could see them stretching it. But so far, with them already implementing a time jump, I'm hopeful that there's room, that there's still going to be time to do some of like the what could happen after this the scene between this entire moment between Danny and his and the psychiatrist. Now that I remember her name, Ree. I might pronounce it Ree. I don't know how to pronounce it. So if I switch between the two locations, that explains why. At least that's what I'm very hopeful on exploring as we continue further into the show. But so far with episode 2, they're mainly trying to just, you know, get a little bit more flesh into Danny's current view of like his current situation, as well as, you know, beginning to understand a little bit more about Ariana. And it isn't something I'm still not fully invested in. I'm still obviously going to watch it. I have to keep saying that. Like I was going to ditch the show halfway through, but which I never really do in the history of me ever watching a TV show. I always finish from start to finish. So far, it's still not gripping me in. It's still not making me, oh my, OMG, this is amazing. I need to watch the next episode now. No, it's still like, okay, I'm genuinely curious to see where things are going to go. But that's as far as I'm willing to give it. I'm just curious, because I'm a curious person. I need to know everything. And once I do know everything, then I will critique it and, you know, analyze it. But so far, I am just, besides Tom Holland's performance still, and I'm not trying to suck his dick or anything. I'm really not. I'm just, you know, he's a really great actor and he really puts himself into the work, but it just feels like the story's not captivating enough for me. It really is. It feels a little slow. And again, like, I know it's a show, like, you know, they have the runtime, but it's a mini series. It's only 10 episodes. And maybe as is, I don't like the pace of it. I would prefer to, like, you know, roll it a little faster or something. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like this week felt like a little bit of a downstep of last week. And that's already, not last week, last episode. And that's already not a good sign, considering the fact last time I wasn't glowing about it. So, with that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this episode of The Crowded Room. So, I want to say we begin with Ree. She's going to the house that Danny, that and Ariana and the landlord were staying at for the last couple years. It's a wreck. There's the bloodstains everywhere. She keeps hearing this like weird noises around. Turns out to just be a crow. She's just looking for something on her own to validate everything that Danny's been telling her so far. She does find a journal, so she takes it away from the scene. Which I'm not sure if that's tampering a crime. I'm not sure if that's tampering a crime scene, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm wrong. Who really knows? So then we cut back over to Rye resuming her interview with Danny, once again going back to like, okay, so what happened? What's going on? Like, are we any closer to figuring them out? And so we go back to the where we picked up in the last episode, where in terms of the flashback portion, where she asks, okay, so what happened after the landlord saved you? Why did you end up like deciding to stay at his house instead of going back home? So we immediately picked that up. It's the next morning. Danny slept the night over. The landlord, asked him because the stepdad and his mom are outside his door. He said, "Hey, look, I'm chill with you, man. I understand you're being bullied, so I'm giving you a chance. I will let you live here, but you gotta tell your parents off. They gotta like get the hell out of here and like not bother you again, because I'm not dealing with this week to week." Which is like, it's honestly the most balanced Good Samaritan I ever seen. Like, I will help you, but you gotta fight your own battles. Which I'm like, that is fair. He's not going to try and, do everything for Danny. He is, like, getting older, so he has to, like, fend for himself a little bit. So Danny goes outside. He talks with his stepdad and his mom, saying that, hey, look, I'm going to stay here. He doesn't give specific reasons. He's like, I want to stay here. That's about it. They don't even, like, really argue with him. And then eventually the landlord comes in and says to the stepdad, hey, look, I know you're a bully. You're just weak, you're spineless, so you use this excuse to be drunk and, like, act so macho because you're nothing without it. And the stepdad's like, you know what? I hated the kid. He wants to leave. Better for me. And, he decides to leave with the mom. And the mom, says goodbye to her son, gives her, like, a little, like, words of encouragement, and then, like, leaves with him. And the whole subplot about the dad with the money and everything, and also I'm assuming his dad, Danny, also left his mom and still in a very toxic situation by herself. I'm not really 100% a big fan of that. I mean, I'm the type of person that I would stay and help, obviously, but Danny's, I get the vibe like he's just looking out for himself, that, he needs to be in a better living environment than he is currently with his parents, well, his mom and his stepdad. So he's making the right choice for himself, but of course, obviously, his mom is like, I'm going to be stuck alone with him, please. What are you really doing? But we don't come back to that. We literally don't even mention the parents again, really, afterwards. Just to wrap up the parents, even Rye asks Danny back in the present day, like, of all people, you're trusting a random stranger you just met, a few days ago, over your own mother. And like, yeah, okay, take the step out of your equation. Like, you're abandoning your own mother. And Danny's just like, yeah, eventually I kind of got more comfortable in this household than my own house. Which honestly is very, very, very sad to hear, because if you can't even be trusted in your own house, or you can't even call the place where you spend time with your parents your own home, that's honestly like, okay, that's, kind of really says something about the parents, or at least the stepdad in this case. So the landlord agrees to let him stay. Oh my god. The landlord agrees. So the landlord allows him to live there for free, judging by, as long as you go to school, get your GED, or get a job, you'll pay rent. But yeah, other than that, yeah, you're pretty much like going to be your own person. You're just paying for room and board, which I'm like, surprising, because like, I'm assuming by this point he's only 16, 17. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure like if it was the same thing, like you just get your work permit and then you're good to go. But I'm like, damn, you're being thrown off the deep end. Again, I've heard plenty of real life stories, like, kids like that are not even 18 or, like having to fend for themselves. So it's entirely possible. So, yeah, so eventually we get to a little bit of a time skip. Danny's like self-sufficient. He's just doing his own thing. He has one brief interaction with Arianda at the end of his first day there where she's making a BLT, and she's kind of welcoming him in, kind of easing him into like the environment, saying like, hey, look, you're gonna be fine. Just pay your dues, and then that's about it. That really is about it. Then we get to the time skip where like I want to say it's a year or some change after this day. So Danny's been living there. He got a job, presumably. It's not unclear if he graduated high school or not. That's really unclear. And then his day to day is just living life, getting money, eating, and hearing Ariana come back home after a long night of drinking or whatever the hell she's doing away from the house. And that's about his life, really, to be honest with you. He also helps them out sometimes, providing them provisions like food and such with his own money. So we cut to one day, I want to say like a year and a half later, where he runs back into Annabelle, the girl that rejected him. And they're continuing their little banter. It seems like they're continuing a little bit. And it's a little cute. I'll admit that. It is a little cute. And she apologizes to him. Hey, I'm sorry for what I did in high school. I was just scared to think that maybe this could have been something serious, and I wasn't really ready for that. So I just decided to run away. And you know what? Like, perfectly honest. Like, again, the way she did it last time is kind of a dick move. And, like, I don't know why I didn't get like a very genuine feeling out of her. So I'm like, I still don't consider her like to be a good person. But you know what? At least she said something. That's better than some people that even I know personally. So they're about to part. She's back home for from college for summer break. Danny invites her over to the haunted house, even though that he was given the rules like no drugs, no sex, no parties, nothing. You pay your rent, you live here, and that's it. But where was he the whole entire episode? I don't know. He was literally vacant the entire episode. He had his beginning moment, and then he disappeared. So Danny invites her over for a little party, a little social gathering, as you might want to call it. After he says goodbye to her, Danny also runs into his old friend from high school. I guess they still stay in contact. They're still living in town. He's now more like firmly in the drug game. He's now like actually making some money here, so I guess he skipped out on college as well. So yeah, I believe after that point, so we got to that night where Danny and those two come over to his house, and they bring weed and everything. They're just having a small time, like the old days, which I'm like, we didn't really see much of the old days, but whatever. This is Danny's friends, I'm guessing his brief happiness is somewhat of count. One of them is talking about Ariana because Danny's been describing them to them, and they're like they don't believe she exists. This beautiful woman that lives in his house. She just happens to show up, takes a beer, rolls up a joint. She's got good banter with them a little bit, or maybe she's just like very friendly with everyone. Who really knows? Eventually, Annabelle shows up with a bunch of people to make this an official party. So they're all having fun, and I'm like, where is the landlord during all this? Like, you cannot expect to believe, like, he just goes away. Like, where is he off to? Who knows? Danny's having the time of his life, and he's smoking some weed, and I'm like, the way I'm saying it's just, like, horrible. Like, I'm some old person, and, like, I never really had that face. I never really did. I'm just being honest there. Annabelle comes over, gets really close with Danny, takes his joint and starts smoking, and then kind of insinuates him further, like, hey, let's come to the bedroom. Let's go to the bedroom. Which they just chill out. They listen to some music. She dances for a little bit. One of her friends comes over to offer her to drive her back home. She's like, nah, I'm gonna stay here, hang out with Danny a little bit more. Don't worry about it. Eventually, her and Danny start making out a little bit, but however, Ariana comes in suddenly out of nowhere, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, is she a ghost? Because I don't know why, the way this scene was vibed and the way that Annabelle was just very not even considering Ariana to be a real person for half of this scene, and then all of a sudden Ariana just goes in, pushes Danny aside kind of, and then starts kissing Ariana, and they're getting really into it, and I'm just thinking to myself yeah, the framing of this scene was confusing. Because the first half just insinuates that she is a ghost, that she's not there, and then all of a sudden she just comes in, starts kissing her, and then Danny's just watching and just not wanting to make this a threesome, which I'm like, you know what, Danny? I'll be frank here, you made the right call. I wouldn't want to get involved in that either. I wouldn't either. We cut to the next morning. He's cleaning up the house. Again, the landlord's just completely vacant. He's not even anywhere around here. So I'm like, where the hell did he go? Like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna be around often. Next thing you know, he disappears. He skedaddles. Dave's finishing up cleaning. Annabelle comes downstairs, implying like, hey, we had a good time last time, which I'm like, I think you had a good time last time, but Danny didn't. I'm pretty sure he slept on the couch somewhere. She also said that, hey, you can start kissing me. You can kiss me whenever you want now. So they start. It's not really the best makeout session in the world. It feels like they're just like still teasing, but they don't really do anything. Eventually, she just says, I gotta go. And so she leaves, and that's about it. That really is. Then Danny's on the porch reading a comic book. Ariana comes out, like, pseudo apologizing, saying, like, are you okay? You be good? Like, I'm sorry if I messed up your game, but, like, I was high. That's it. That was legitimately the only excuse. Like, I'm sorry, I got high, I kissed your girl, my bad. So to make it up to them, to make it up to him, they spend the day together. Not like that. They actually, spend time with each other, like kind of like siblings a little bit. That's kind of like the vibe I'm getting off them. Like, she's the oldest sister, he's the younger brother. They go to a diner, enjoy their company. Danny's trying to make conversation with her, trying to get to know her more, and she's like not 100% really down for it. She just says like, okay, I do my life. I do things that's outside of the house. That's basically it. Like, I really don't want to like get too deep into it with you. They go see the movie, Rocky 2, really good movie. Having a good time. Seems like everything's going well. Then all of a sudden, some random dude that I guess Ariana knows privately starts approaching her. It's clear that he's on drugs or something, trying to like get her to like hang out with him. She's declining him, and then of course eventually the guy skedaddles. But Danny's like asking even more questions, like, "Who's that guy? What you doing? Like, why is he like this with you?" And she's like, "Stop! We are not gonna be best friends. Stop trying to up in my business. Leave me the fuck alone." And she dips. That's kind of where the story kind of like segues into Ariana's direction for the last 20 minutes or so, where Danny goes back to his house. He starts sleeping in. Ariana decides to say fuck it. Decides to go out to the city to go go to a party or something like that. So she does, leaving Danny behind. So she heads over there. She heads into like this club. Immediately gets in. No questions or anything. Immediately, not even like 5 seconds she goes in there, someone's already hitting on her, which I'm like, that's true status. You've reached true peak status at a bar, where like literally you walk in less than a minute, someone's already hitting on you. So some woman's trying to like offer like free drinks, like dancing, trying to get to know each other, trying to get in there, and she's not fully interested. She likes to keep her options open, like play the field. The night's ever so young for her, so she's not in a real rush to really pick someone. Eventually she decides to get in there, starts dancing with a bunch of people, especially her, for a little bit. Then this guy comes over. Immediately she recognizes him and says, okay, we're gonna hit pause, give me a second. Turns out that was her ex-boyfriend, or like her boyfriend. Like, I don't know, it seems like they were together, but then she was just saying like, because he was saying like, hey, you left me alone, like it's been 4 days and you've literally not contacted me once, so what's up, what's going on here? And she's like, I'm sorry, I got afraid of the commitment, and it's like everyone's afraid for commitment in this show. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is going on here? And she's just like, let's not talk about this now. Let's just have some fun tonight. She got a tab open on someone else's name. Let's go drink. Let's go get high and everything. So they do. They have a nice, a nice night. They go dance on the floor. They're drinking. They're doing coke. I think they're doing coke. Or I'm not 100% certain about that. They go to the bathroom to have sex. It is your traditional, you want to get fucked up at a bar with a random dude, or like at least a dude and that's about it. That really is about it. Where do we go after that? I forgot. So yeah, it's kind of like early morning. They're kind of getting close, and like things are fine. It's kind of starting to slow down a little bit. The party's starting to wind down, but they don't want to go home just quite yet. The woman that was kind of grinding on Ariana earlier in the night comes back. They start kissing. The guy gets super jealous. Pushes the woman, starts a verbal, and then trying to start a physical fight with Ariana, but the guards come in and kick them out. And Ariana's like so mad because like all she wanted to do was just have a nice night, was just like, forget about things, forget about her life, and this guy comes in and ruins it. He tries to apologize, but she's like, nah, I'm just gonna dip and go back home. So she grabs a beer can, starts the kind of the walk of shame, kind of, not really, but like sort of something similar to that. Ends up on the train. gets back home, gets, stared at by a bunch of people because, like, she's herself, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it. She gets back home, starts crying a little bit, and then she goes over to Danny's room and tells him, like, I need your help. And that was basically the end of the flashback portion, as, Danny's describing it. Like, even though the situation, even for me, like, I would not feel comfortable with the situation whatsoever. Like, I don't know why. I just need some sort of, like, structure system. This does not seem structured whatsoever. And probably feels cool, the freedom and the independent, but, like, I don't know, like, there's something missing for me personally here. But Danny, according to Danny's word, like, he just feels absolutely more comfortable here than over with his mom and his stepdad, which I'm like, I wonder what they're up to. It's not like they completely forgot about, like, the real adults of the show, but, like, it is what it is on that point. Eventually they start talking more about, Ariana, about, like, how, like, now that Raya has a little bit more context about her, it's like, even at this moment, which I'm like, we're not fully caught back up to present day yet, but, like, still, like, okay, she's asking for these, like, very serious favors, and she's not been in a really good place, and as of right now, you're saying that she planned the Rockefeller attack. Of, like, are you entirely sure that she was really in there? That she was really stable? Like, that's not really something that, like, that you're fully being responsible for. And, like, Danny's trying to, like, protect Ariana, trying to, like, not make her seem like she's the bad person here. And they're like, that it's like, that gray area, so to speak. Eventually, she starts accusing him and then her and about everything about, like, what happens to the landlord. Like, going back to, like, the main questions of the show so far, Danny implodes, gets mad at her for, like, asking him these questions, and then the guard's about to step in and, like, detain him, but she's like, no, relax. We're getting somewhere. We're reaching the breaking point between us. And then, I want to say, she asks him, like, okay, what has Ariana been asking you? Like, what is so secretive that, like, you've been doing for her? And also throughout this entire episode, we're getting, like, random shots of, like, this like, wooden area that's, like, rotten, that's, like, abandoned. And then we get the scene at the end where, like, Ariana's walking through there. She eventually steps into the water, and then she starts walking, and then we see two bodies, dead as hell, starting to decompose, in the water as well, and that was the end of the episode. So yeah, for me, like, even, like, repeating it, like, getting that visualization back in my head about the episode, I'm still not really feeling it. I'm not, like, I'm just not, like, I don't know how else to say it. It's like, I do appreciate that, again, they're setting up Danny more as the titular character, understanding his position. I am understanding his position, and then getting to Ariana's side of things, I'm like, I'm understanding the characters, but I'm not really getting immersed in the characters. I really am not. And it's that one thing of, like, like, I want to believe that I'm actually curious of, like, in terms of the mystery portion, I have no idea where this is going. Because I don't even know where the hell we're going. I really don't know. At this point, we're presuming that Ariana and the landlord are dead, but we don't really know the context of things. But, like, it's not really filling in the details as I like to. And I feel like more and more, like, this is starting to be, like, one of those shows, like, you need to binge all the episodes to fully understand it. Maybe it's going to be that type of show at the end. But still the whole thing of, like, we're dropping the first 3 episodes now so you can get immersed in the mystery. And, like, we know what's going on here. Like, it's 2 episodes in and I'm not getting immersed. Like, I really am not, like, just for the sake of, like, this episode of, like, just being so, I guess, random at times, because, like, we're being thrown into different, positions that doesn't really have, like, much of, like, tread ground, which I would have honestly said, like, I would have been fine if we explored more about Danny fully adjusting to his life with Ariana and the landlord, because all of a sudden, like, he starts living here, and then we cut to more than a year later, and, like, now he is self-sufficient, but, like, the landlord's not around. He and Ariana are just starting their real relationship, kind of. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, I would have liked to see an episode where, like, he's still finishing up high school. He's dealing with the ramifications of his actions by that point. Maybe seem like fully resolving his mom and stepdad, at least on this point of the storyline. I would prefer that, but, like, the time jump kind of makes it, like, I really hope we do get substantial content, like, substantial story beats when we do get to, like, to more episode. Otherwise, if this was, like, just a time jump for the sake of, like, moving along the storyline, then I would be a little bit remiss about it, to be honest with you. Because right now, like, performance-wise, Tom Holland's still delivering for Danny, but, like, this episode, I'm just, like, like I'm understanding what the environment Danny's in, but I'm not really feeling like he's really like what is the progression here? What are we really going to for here? Because like at one moment he's about to make out with have sex with Annabelle, and then next moment he's just trying to be buddy, being like the little brother to Ariana, which I'm like I guess is he has just like this sense of like he needs reassurance, he needs nourishment, or like I don't know what the right word is, but he needs a caring person next to him. He needs someone to care about him. And now that his mom is gone in the picture, that was his choice at the end. He's trying to fill that hole, and it's not entirely for me, I think, to be the most healthiest. To be honest with you, I don't feel like it's the most healthiest. But I will admit that, like, definitely it is something of like there is. I don't know. There's just something missing here. I really don't know. Maybe like by the time I watch episode 3, it'll all make sense. But I'm like, so far, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. When a miniseries, like every episode got to matter. Every episode got to be like, I got to be thinking more. I got to be percolating the brain. And since we're still in setup fodder, I'm not really 100% like comfortable with the fact they may not so far I'm not really like seeing where the ship is even going right let alone landing, but that's just my opinion, at least at the end of the day. Jarring story decisions, some little timeline inconsistencies, because I forgot to mention, like, it went from like him saying like, oh, it was 2 years, and I was like, oh, it's been 3 years, which I'm like, well, what is it? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? I'm like, come on, let's figure this thing out here. But overall, for this episode 2, it is weaker than the last episode, which already was not off to a great start, to be honest with you. It was just barely passable for good. Now we're gonna easing into like mediocrity, which I'm like, we're checking along. We're checking along, but just not in the best way that I was thinking possible. So that being said, I'm giving this like a 3/4 thumbs up on that scale, however you want to say it. Let me in the comments below what you think of this episode of The Crowded Room. I would love to have a conversation with you down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Do from ActionX, reviewing every episode in The Crowded Room. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Do besides our Crowded Room episode reviews. Right now, we're doing Nancy Drew Season 4 episode reviews. Each and every week after brand new is on the CW. We just put out a quick impressions on Hunter x Hunter if you want to be checking that out. But if you don't care about The Crowded Room, you're in luck. We still have more episode reviews to come. Since we were a little bit delayed, we had some problems in the beginning. We're still going through this, so when this is being posted, episode 4 already came out for the world. So we are behind, but hopefully by this time next week, before episode 5 comes out, we will be fully caught back up, and then we'll explore the second half together, live speaking. Hopefully, I don't really know, because like I said that earlier, we're going to be on pace for the beginning, and then I was delayed by a few days. So let's see what happens. Let's see what honestly happens. Because I am very curious to see what episode 3 has to hold, and hopefully this will make everything make sense. Will I regret my words next time? Who the heck knows? But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to, and ring the bell for more videos like this one. But until then, till next time, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.